happening again.
Hey, it's Friday night, and the mood is right. I'm gonna show you how it's done. We're gonna have some fun. TGIF. All right. Welcome to Indecisive Device. I'm Greg, and this is our third show. I say our because I mean it's our. You and me. We do things on Friday. So, a little experiment. I didn't mention this stream tonight. I didn't go on social media and tweet it out or use Instagram or anything. I'm just curious. Every day or every time I stream, I always try to test a new thing. So I'm just trying to see if, I don't know, people who are subscribed will come and tune in. If not, I have Susie Q with me, a good friend of mine I've known since ever, who makes cool jewelry and awesome things out of chainmail. Should check it out. The name is in the chat. That's happening right here. She's saying hey. Check out her Patreon as well. So what I've been doing on Friday nights. My patrons have chosen a fan art Friday idea, and I'm still finishing it. 3 weeks now. We did the sketch 3 weeks ago. We did the color flats last time, and then tonight it should hopefully just be done. We're down to just actual gradients and shading and coloring and stuff, and we'll be done. And then last week I started kind of a new tradition where I want to do a warm-up sketch of some kind. So I've decided to do a little trading card type sketch. And I don't know what it is. It's just something that's going to be spur of the moment. And I might try different techniques every single time. I'll be using my iPad Pro to draw with an app called ProCreate, which is pretty cool. Use it all the time. And just to kind of bring you up to speed, let's go and look at what we did last week. I'm going to go over to my Drawcam. There we go. And we were working on Psylocke versus Jubilee. And my little iPad here. Group selected. All right. Quick little time lapse. Just a cool little... Previously on Indecisive Device, we did these things. This is kind of the first day, did some sketching. Drew this stuff off the screen a little bit. And then last week, this, where is it? It's just going to pop into frame here. Pop, 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 there we go. Color flats. This is the longest part of any coloring job, is just laying out every little flat color without light or shadow. It takes a long time, so we're going to pick up after that. I added in the games they're playing in the little monitors back here, like I said. And I said I was going to draw Wolverine, Jubilee, and Psylocke, and I didn't lie, but hey, there's our Wolverine. He's got little feet. I didn't draw that, though. Yep. All right, cool. So that's what we're going to finish working on tonight. But I don't know. I want to talk about some other little things here real quick, too. It is February 8th. And for me, it's kind of cool. Tomorrow is February 9th. And if you're a big fan of Twin Peaks like I am, it's a great night to rewatch Twin Peaks Fire Walk with me. Because February 9th is kind of the weird anniversary of... the murder of Teresa Banks, which kind of started off the whole mystery, if you follow the chronology somewhat. So tomorrow night, Saturday, why not? Let's watch Fire Walk with me. Good stuff. David Lynch movies. And yes, Suzy Q, that is the X-Men fighting game from the 90s. Exactly. They are playing it on PlayStation 1. And there were two big Capcom games of the 90s that were fighting games. There was X-Men: Children of the Atom that had Wolverine and Iceman and Colossus and Cyclops and Psylocke, and that's what they're playing, which I thought was kind of fun and meta. And then they had Marvel Superheroes, which was kind of the quasi sequel to that, which was kind of centered around the Infinity Gauntlet series, which was cool. It had Thanos, and they added like Cap and Spidey and Hulk, and Psylocke was still in there too. So I figured if Psylocke was going to play a game, she'd probably, play something that she was in. Man, Pi and Fire Walk with Me. It's such a heavy movie to sit down and watch with friends and have joy around, because Fire Walk with Me, oh my God, the themes in it are really depressing. But it's one of those movies I've seen in the theater now 2 or 3 times because of the Alamo Drafthouse. It came out in 1990, and Fire Walk with Me was a movie right after the first series was canceled. They did 2 seasons, and it ended on a huge cliffhanger. Enormous cliffhanger. And then they wanted, all the rabid fans were clamoring for them to make a movie, and they did. And the movie ended up being a prequel. So it didn't resolve much of it. But you had to understand the end to know the timeline of things. So it was kind of it was a prequel that ends up being a sequel in disguise. Just weird. And then, of course, since then, 2 years ago, we had Twin Peaks Season 3 came back on Showtime. And now I honestly am still trying to figure it all out, deciding if I want to let it into my life yet. It's so hard to have a show that you've loved for so long, and you feel like you know it, you figured it out, and then suddenly, hey, there's new things. Because the Season 3, no spoilers, it doesn't come in and answer a lot of stuff. It answers the weird things. You're like, oh, okay, neat. But then it totally throws everything for a new loop. And then if they don't resolve this season, this is another huge cliffhanger for the show to end on. But I guess it's just what happens. Just how being a Twin Peaks fan, you gotta live with this weirdness. But all right, regardless, welcome to Friday night. Let's do a card. And Susie Q, you were not here last week, but we drew a little bug guy. Actually, I can go back and do this. This is last week's little trading card. I had a little warm up. So just a little quick deal, and then I want to do another one. But I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of feeling a little spooky. Like I want to draw something a little creepy tonight. I don't know what that is, but here's one of my favorite things to do with ProCreate is I will take my background and I'm going to just make it completely black. And then I'm going to turn my brush white, as white as I can. And I'm going to use my spray paint. I love the spray paint textures. The fat nozzle is really fun. It has cool like spattery effects like this. Splat. Really cool stuff. But, oops, undid too far. I'm going to pair my eraser with the same thing. So essentially I only have one color. I'm going to be painting with white and then removing that white with the same type of spray paint texture. And I'm just going to go free form. I know I want to do something creepy, but I don't know exactly what that will be. And I want to try and have it done in like about 15 minutes or so. Real quick warm up. Sweet. Susie Q. I just finished both books and obsessed with Philip Jeffries and Jack Parsons. Philip Jeffries was David Bowie's character in Fire Walk with Me. And it's phenomenal. And I never know where to stand on a stream, like if I should just talk spoilers or whatever, but becomes a teapot. Maybe that's too weird. All right. Let's do some stuff. All right, got my brush, and sometimes I just throw down big old blob. And then I switch to my eraser, and then we remove some of that big old blob. And I don't quite know what shapes are coming out. But it's kind of like a cool active Rorschach blob. So if you see something in the forms and the shapes as I'm painting, hey, call it out in the chats. And just doing little light strokes. Oh, all right. This could be like little hands or something. It looked very Punisher there for a second, right? Not my intention. Though I did just finish Punisher last night, season 2, actually. And I'm just waiting, like maybe middle of next week, I'm sure we'll get Netflix telling us that, hey, it's canceled. Frank canceled is the Punisher, or was the Punisher. Yeah, because Netflix is canceling all my favorite Marvel shows. Everyone thinks it's because Disney is about to launch a big streaming service. Kettlebell, hey! I won't use your real names in case that's weird. So I know who you are, though. I know you. A country road with an alien light coming through the trees. Okay. I'm thinking more monstery. And I gotta tell you, I don't have much more in my head other than that. But let's see. It did kind of look like a clearing, right? Oh, you know what? This is actually good timing. Maybe I did it unconsciously, but a couple days ago it would have been H.R. Giger's birthday, who, of course, designed the Alien from Alien and my favorite movie series of the two good movies. But he was an amazing airbrush artist. If you do not know who he is, oh my God, you please Google that. H.R. Giger. Hans Rudy Giger. Let's channel him. Let's make weird, weird organic tube holes that look like things. All right. Let's do it. Again, I don't want to spend a huge amount of time on this guy. I gotta find a face in here somewhere. Maybe make it a little symmetrical. And oh, my aim with this is, at this point, I'm probably not going to be doing any fan art with my trading cards. They are going to become kind of an original curated thing. I think with my patrons, I will print them out or something. Maybe at some point I'll have a little postcard set or trading card set, sorry, of each of these guys. Once I've got a bunch under my belt, we'll get them. My phone fell down and it scared me. Ooh. Hey, random trivia. Friday nights. That was the night the X-Files was on most of the time, right? I know it moved around. It went to Sundays for a while, but wasn't it originally on Fridays? I swear. Also, of course, there is about maybe a 8 to 10 second delay between what I'm doing By the way, I think I found out what I want to do here. So you might start to see some stuff kind of happen here. Yeah, I think it was on Sunday nights, but I swear when it first started, how I can remember this is I remember seeing the episode Home with that creepy cannibalistic weird hillbilly family. That episode that only aired like once. I swear it was a Friday night and I was hanging out at my friend Eric's house. And we watched some X Files before we started playing video games or whatever we were doing that night. Also, speaking of creepy, the little teaser trailers for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I can't wait for that. One, it's Guillermo del Toro. Two, it's one of my favorite creepy books. Stephen Gammell's illustrations were so freaking creepy, and I was a little worried. I thought they were going to turn it into, I don't know, one consecutive story and just have one person get accosted by all these weird creepy creatures, dumb creatures. But it looks like it's just straight up anthology style, which is really cool because we've had a lot of movies like that lately. Even back to the Twilight Zone movies and Tales from the Dark Side, but most recently like VHS and like the ABCs of Death and stuff like that. All right, I'm gonna try and break up the form here a little bit. Do you see what is going on here? Because wow. Sometimes I'll erase it more than I want just so I get those cool. That's what I want. Oh, those little overlapping speckly things. There we go. Season 1 through 3, Friday night. Season 4 through 10, Sunday. And then season 11, ooh, Wednesday nights. That's where shows go to die. That was during the we gotta find Mulder. When the T-1000 was after Mulder. Because he didn't want to be on the show anymore. So they made it a plot point. I love the show. I just not a fan of those last seasons. My like core X-Files era was probably like season 3 and 4 and 5. Well, that's not true. I love the first 5. I think are pretty fantastic. All right, what am I making? Let's find out. I'm gonna lay some harsh shadows down. Actually, you know what? I want to put some creepy teeth in here. I want some creepy teeth. All right, here we go. Oh, it got really silent. Sorry. It's also making teeth. If you're not making sound effects or like posing with your face when you're drawing, I don't know if you're doing it right. It is a lot like an X-ray. I've been doing this type of or I don't know what to even call it. It's just 2 colors, essentially. It's a little bit of texture, but if you look on my Instagram, which is at Greg Freeland, you can see I've done some portraits of Chewbacca and Darth Vader and the alien and stuff in this kind of two-tone style. So, and hey, thanks for hanging out again. Again, this is a big experiment just to see if people are gonna tune in of their own volition without me having to, hammer it in online. Though it's not like I have a big fan base or anything, but just curious. So Suzy Q's, you're talking about doing a stream as well. I say, why the heck not? I'm just kind of barely experimenting with this a lot myself. I don't want to have to always do iPad stuff, but right now it's kind of all I've got. This guy. I do not have a separate pull-out camera yet. I want to get a cool mount for that and be able to film myself as I do actual drawing and painting and inking on paper. That'll match the things I do a little bit better too. Things like Inktober when that happens. There we go. We're starting to see some gross fingies. I'm just adding some splops and pushing stuff into the darkness. Oh, thank you. You love that Inktober book? I have an Inktober book that I collected all of my pop culture Halloween costumes into like an actual zine. And it is up on my shop. I'll have a little graphic for that too. But it is gregfreeland.bigcartel.com or Big Cartel. Hold on. I got my slide ready. It's this. These things. gregfreelandart.etsy.com and bigcartel.gregfreeland.com. There's that Halloween costume zine that I was talking about. Suzy Q's picked one up, and the idea, there's like a regular version, which is just like a 8.5 by 11 folded, photocopied type zine mini comic thing. It is 36 pages. It's huge. It has 31 illustrations from Halloween and a bunch of extra stuff. And my friend Scott, who's a screenwriter, novelist, wrote an introduction for it, which is pretty cool. But you can get it there. And then there's the deluxe version where if you order that, I do like a little custom piece of art on the cover. It's like a pumpkin, and I'll do just a traditional ink drawing on the back of that. All right, back to me. There we go. Is the repetitive tapping on my iPad, is that annoying? Do you even hear that? Rap tap tapping? Good. And splops is totally a technical term. There we go. Got a little weird upturned arm. There, my phone keeps wanting to like kill itself. Let me move it. Not like I need to answer it right now. Get a little elbow thing there. Get some more splops going on. Maybe too many splops there. There we go. When I paint like this, you just gotta kind of decide where the light source is. And I'm just kind of pushing things in and out of the light. Just by adding in subtracting here. All right, for example, this hand, the light source is kind of up here-ish, up by this little light splop. Coming down here, I think the hands will be casting more of a shadow through the core here. As much as I like that little rib area, I think I gotta ditch it a little bit here. But it's kind of getting there. It's not quite a Mothman. It's not a road or anything is wonderfully discernible. Thank you. I don't know what I wanted to draw tonight, but I wanted to do something like this. And again, just put those splops down. And then that's the splop sound. I don't know, just kind of make things come out of them. I don't know if I want to keep it like super symmetrical. I don't know if I mentioned that. I haven't quite figured out what I want to do for a face. But man, it's about 9:30. I want to do maybe about 5 more minutes and see where we can go. Let's pull some shapes. All right, whatever this weird face spout. Facial spout. Everybody's got one of those. And make this look a little more spouty and weirdly desiccated here as it disappears into the dark. H.R. Giger used a lot of little, well, he was amazing, and he could rough a lot of things, but he used a lot of stencils for just good repeating patterns. But you know what? I'm too lazy for that right now, so I'm just going to add a little highlight on the tops here, give it a little dimension. Well, I mean, he used stencils for a lot of the repeating forms in a like one of those snake things or one of those Just like little French curves with an airbrush. Oh, speaking of airbrush, I got an airbrush for Christmas. Woo! So I actually am super excited to do some real life type HR Giger things with that, um, as well as complete some model kits and do some customizing and some all kinds of fun stuff. I've got my Cowboy Bebop swordfish and red tail kits I've had for a while that I just never painted because I was waiting for an airbrush to kind of do it right. It is time to paint all the things. All right, face spoops. Done. Ooh, that's kind of gross. I like that. Make this look a little more twisty, turny. Is that coming through okay? Is it a little grainy or I don't know, bad? Wait for a response. There, gross head thing number one. Who's ready for gross head thing number two? That'll be my next t-shirt. Trademark. Patent pending. Trying to angle this more this time. Usually I keep my iPad kind of flat, and then I realize that you're just looking at the top of my head. It's thrilling. All right. Something like that. Does it spell something? Almost looks like letters. I do have a nice hat. I just want to make sure you guys are seeing it. And I often have thought, is it better to I just have the iPad screen hooked up, of course, but what if I had a camera that had my hands, like Apple Pencil on iPad? If that would be interesting to see, or is this enough? Both. True. Why not? There's going to be some things I want to do. I want to, like I mentioned a little bit ago, I want to get that separate cam. I'm currently using my built-in camera on my iMac, which is okay. But you know, I want some bigger splops to come out of here. Come here, splops. Come here, splops. There we go. All right. Couple more minutes here. Becoming a little bit more of a warm-up, or more than. You know what? I'm having fun drawing gross face parts. And in the end, isn't that all that matters? Drawing gross face parts. Add some shadow up here. I'll just redo this whole middle part once I figure out what is going on there. Start whistling. I probably shouldn't. I should just say stuff. Why I was whistling. It would be nice to have music, right? But I am going to be uploading all of the replays of this a week after the fact on my YouTube channel, Indecisive Device, as well. So if you miss a live ever, they'll be rebroadcast there. But there's just a whole mess of weird stuff going on with YouTube right now, where people are just using copyright claim left and right to steal monetization from people, even though they didn't create the content in question, or just to like take down videos they don't agree with. It's a mess. And if I had background music, I was just afraid that even if it was one of my buddies, you know, supplying music, there could be a beat or something in there that someone could just claim. And then what happens is YouTube like doesn't care.
Here are some videos of Blake Doesn't Care I found on the web. Take a look.
Hi, Siri. Go away.
Was it something I said?
It was. You interrupted me. Everybody say, no, don't say it. That just happened. I need to concentrate on my mouth parts. All right. Anyway, YouTube, not great right now. People are really pissed. I'm one of them. I had one of my videos actually get flagged by just some random person. And the part of the video that they flagged as theirs was just nonsense. I was ticked. So, I don't know. I'm trying to avoid any type of stuff going on there. I don't know. It's starting to look like a little bit of something. Let's put some weird, gross additional holes up here. Son of Suzy Q knows someone who plays the electric spoons. Electric spoons? Like, are you talking about like an instrument, or is that a cool band that I'm not hip enough to know about? Son of Suzy-Q, as foretold by the somethings. I made these too big. Even though this is a grotesque nightmarish monster that is not symmetrical, I still want to keep a little bit of a commonality, like a little common language, a visual language throughout the throughout the head holes. Got to keep them the right side. Somehow spoons are amplified through the power of electricity. That's really cool, actually. I want to hear that. Let's get some electric spoons on the show. Spoon Man! But electric. All right. Let's bring this home. Bring it home. This too can be yours. A little bit of accent down here. Tooth shine up here. It does look very ear-like, right? There's a big ridge here, I think. That should be being hit by light. Okay, a little sharp drop off right here. All right, we're almost done. Big, weird, repeating tubey things out here. Maybe spinally implied. There we go. How's he looking? He's looking really beautiful, right? Yeah, I love this brush. It's just a bunch of happy accidents. I hit some more of this hand over here. Gotta think about the specular quality of the surface. Is it shiny? Does it reflect? Is it dull? Is it drippy? Is it wet? I want more weird rib cagey action here. All right. It's just never going to end, is it? Let's just do this all night. There. What's that guy like? All right, I think I gotta call it. At least on this guy. Then we got a whole other mess to deal with in a second. Cool. The amount of shadow. Yeah, very Lovecraftian. I love Lovecraft descriptions because it's very little about what the creature actually looks like, and more of it looked like something that would instantly drive you mad as soon as you gazed upon it. And then you just kind of fill in the gaps. Like, what is that? What does that look like? But if anything, it's a nice little vague X-ray creature monster. I'm going to take this layer now, and I'm going to play with with the brightness here. Not that it's going to do much. Maybe I just magnify it a bit. Brings it down a little bit. There. Let me scooch it out here and zoom in on him. Weird mouth parts. Well, fun. That was my little warm up. Moving on. I'll post that, by the way, on my my Patreon. For those who want to check it out, patreon.com/Greg Freeland, and I'll have a high-res version of that out there too. Okay, back to the task at hand here. Now, this is going to take a little while, but we've done all the hard work. All of the flat colors are there. I really just need to do a little bit something, a lot like what we just did actually, where I'm just going to add light and shadow on top of these flat colors. And the light source, as we start to work through this, is going to be the televisions that are blasting the game. So, all right. Where did I set this up? I've got a ton of layers. I've got TVs are their own separate layer. All of the different pieces of the The props, the clothing are all on separate layers because I'm crazy. So if you want to see how we got here, either on Twitch or all right, I'm back. I think we're good. I'm gonna get my face out of this stuff. We're discussing layers. I am still recording and a little thrown by that. So back into things. There's a little green light here, and I just noticed it went red. I don't know what the heck that was. But my stream died. All right. Okay. So going back from layers, we are going to just add 2 layers tonight. Hopefully we can just do everything else, carve it all out by doing a light layer and a shadow layer, and then changing how they multiply on all the layers below. And then along the way, I can decide to change the color of any particular piece of clothing or anything else that happens in there. So I'm going to go ahead and go under the TV stuff layer, which is right below my line art. I'm going to call this light. And go ahead and rename this one Shadow. I think I'm going to start with light first. And I'm going to use a kind of a pale blue that I'm just going to kind of awkwardly paint over everything. It might look weird, but I'm just kind of figuring out where light is hitting as it's coming out of the television over here. It's going to be hitting everybody on the front. And then I do have this back TV with a little bit of side lighting, so we'll see how that goes. Hey, how's it going? This is my first stream with weird problems in it. My media server's not on. I have nothing crazy going on network-wise. But I guess I'm back. Cool. All right, as I was saying, I'm going to do some light here. So I'm going to grab for this. I didn't talk about how I wanted to color this, actually. I'm thinking about doing it kind of like flat anime cell style with very little variation in the color. I think it suits the source material. I also get into a habit where I tend to over color and over shade, and I get really painterly, which just I don't think complements my kind of flat basic line style. I never have like heavy shadows in my art, so sometimes it's overcolored and it looks a little weird. So all right, without further ado, I'm going to go into my inking, and let's just do, I'll tell you what, let's go and get my airbrush. And right now, I'm going to knock down this layer out, yay. And I'll put a lighten and a screen. At 100%, it would look something like this. Okay. But if I put it about 60%, that'll get me where I want to go. Cool. All right, television, where are you? You are right here. I'm just kind of hitting every part of this that I think would be affected. And then I can go through and just delete all the over paint. So that's what we're going to be doing for a little while. But if you're still with me, if I'm still streaming, let's talk about X-Men. Absolutely, that 90s X-Men cartoon. It wasn't maybe the best animation or anything, but I don't know. I mentioned this last time I was on the show that the voice casting of the X-Men, it was done by a Canadian team, and I still hear those voices in my head whenever I read X-Men comics. That Wolverine from that 90s X-Men show is the Wolverine in my head. It's so perfect. And Sabretooth, that guy was amazing. I find him in the weirdest places, actually, because, again, he's a Canadian actor. He's on Bruce McCullough from The Kids in the Hall. He's on a song. He actually sings with Bruce McCullough. So if you ever want to hear what Sabretooth sounds like singing a duet about falling in love with a man, dude, gotta check out. It's called Shame-Based Man. From that guy from The Kids in the Hall. That commercial is still in my head. Oh my god, that was so long ago. That was like 96 or something. It was Bruce. The commercial for Bruce McCullough's comedy album was Bruce like rotating on a platform, and there's two old ladies singing and playing, and they do all the introduction of the song, of the album, I mean. And he's just on display. Really weird stuff. Anyway, random trivia. Kids in the Hall were also great, and also very Canadian, so fits. All right, Susie Q, you said you love that 90s X-Men. What was, or that cartoon show? What I don't know. What was your favorite memory of that show? Like, is there a favorite episode? Or I guess you could even say story arc. It was one of the first shows that brought really long form storytelling to Saturday morning. Mojo. Mojo was good. It was such a cool little break, and I think it hit like right before um, the whole Phoenix Saga story started on there. Boop. And Bishop was very like Terminator inspired time paradox type action going on all there all the time. There was that episode, I think it was like almost the end of the show, where they had like that uh, 5 part, they got that 5 part episode of them X-Men's that was about like this astral plane, and like Apocalypse was in it, and he had to collect all the psychics, and uh, like Jean Grey was stolen, and I erased accidentally a part of this leg. If you look really closely in the background, when they like collect all the psychics and they're like in their little weird tubes, you can see Typhoid Mary from Daredevil is like one of my favorite characters ever. But she's, debatable psychic. Like she's kind of like a low level telekinetic, pyrokinetic. She can summon flames and stuff. Um, but it was a cool little nod. There was cool little Easter eggs all the time in that show. Ooh, there's a moderation thing I gotta mention. Allow. allow. I'm my own moderator in the chat. And so Susie Q said Shi'ar, referring to the alien race in X-Men, but because it's SHI, they think it's a naughty word. Shit! Shi'ar. So now I allowed them, so that permitted. She and Shi'ar are now permitted in the chat. I have those filters set pretty dang high. Maybe it's overkill, but I don't know. I don't know who's gonna want to come in here and chat, and I just want to make sure everybody's being cool to each other, be excellent to each other, and so on. It says because that show was written for comic fans, it wasn't really for kiddos. I don't know. To a point, I think they did a good job. I mean, honestly, because of that show, when I was in school, like comics were cool. At a time where comics were not cool, X-Men made them so cool. Everybody was talking about them and collecting the cards. And for the first time, it was cool to be a nerd, read them books. And then it got really dark. Just like right after my jump into middle school, it wasn't so cool anymore. And but I kept reading. Nowadays, God, everybody knows the weirdest things about comics because of our movies. People have... I talk about this a lot in life, so get ready to hear it again. People who have never read a comic have opinions about weird characters like Arnim Zola, and that blows my mind. People now know who Thanos is, and back in the 90s, something like the Infinity Gauntlet was one of those things that just flew so far under the radar. It was a big deal, of course, for comic readers, but it was definitely not like meme-worthy like it is now. It's so crazy. It's so cool. It's a great time to be a comic fan. There's a lot of bad stuff, but man, there's a lot of great stuff. Let's see, because who are my favorite X-Men? Like core X-Men? My favorite mutants. Let's see. I actually really enjoy Jubilee. She makes people groan, I find, a lot of times. I mentioned this last time on the stream too. But I don't know. Growing up, I was that age. I was like Jubilee age, and so her plight mattered to me greatly. Apparently, it was kind of like my window into that world. And also, I dearly loved Generation X. So my of the core X-Men though, I loved. God, I gotta say, I was just corny for Wolverine. He was my guy. But for kind of maybe not the reasons you expect. The show explored a lot of Wolverine's past and stuff like that too. But I was reading comics a lot, and the big stories that got me into just Wolverine as a character was Hearts of Darkness, which was Punisher, Ghost Rider, and Wolverine. It was one kind of a gatefold cover by John Romita Jr., and it was Blackheart, the son of Mephisto. And I love Blackheart too, who's a Daredevil villain originally too. He's basically tries to tempt them, he comes to Ghost Rider and Punisher and Wolverine, and he promises them great power, or promises Frank, he can erase the memories of his family getting killed, or and he promises Wolverine you can find out the true nature of your adamantium skeleton, etc. At that time, of course, was still a big mystery. But he tempts them with all this power because they're that hero that's kind of on the dark edge, and so they're already really close to going over the edge. So it's not hard for them to go in and make a deal with the devil, so to speak. So Blackheart tries to tempt them. Hey guys, I'll give you some power and solve some mysteries for you without Scooby Doo, and all you got to do is help me kill my dad, the devil. And they turn him down, of course, and they team up and fight Blackheart, and it's super cool. And then around the same time, there was Marvel Comics Presents, which was like a two-sided comic. Like one side would be your cover, and then you'd flip it over, and there'd be another story that you would read from that side forward to the middle. And there were two covers. It was really cool. And Sam Keith, who made the Max, that really cool, inky, chubby, hairy, drippy style that he has. He drew the most amazing Wolverine covers. And oh my god, it's just like one of my favorite things ever. And I really got into Wolverine through that journey. That's a really long story. I just wanted to talk about Hearts of Darkness, which is really cool. You should go check it out. I wish that would be a cool standalone movie someday, but nope. But yeah, if I could go back in time and tell little Greg, man, I promise, don't you know, things are going to get better. Comics are going to become cool. All of your nerdy knowledge will become useful. Every time you see a Marvel movie, your friends will look at you at the end of that weird teaser moment, post-credit sequence, and go, Greg, what the heck does that mean? You'll become legitimized. But Typhoid Mary is one of my favorite characters, so I gotta say, it's actually why I haven't watched Iron Fist. She shows up in Iron Fist. I saw it just in the. I've watched the first episode of the second season of Iron Fist. I love the character so much, and she needs to square off against Matt. And I just feel like a lot of the Defender series, they get Matt's rogues gallery. Like they kind of used Nuke and Jessica Jones for some reason, and they got their own rogues galleries. Do that. But oh well, it's a really cool time to be alive. We got Captain Marvel coming out soon, and Endgame, and whatever the heck is going to go on with acquisition of Fox products and X-Men. So that we'll have maybe X-Men stomping around with our established Avengers universe. You never know. I'm super excited for Captain Marvel. I think it's really cool. I'm actually more excited for Skrulls myself. But I love the powerhouse, that she's going to bring to the table here. Yeah, do you think that they'll like legit bring them all together? I really don't know what I'm doing here. Get some of these folds in and I'll erase out. wet. Just gonna fill it in. And then this little hoodie tassel is going to cast a little shadow here. I'll cut this out. What about them X-Men movies, huh? They kind of became a huge mess. Like X-Men 1 and 2. Pretty good. And then whatever the hell happened after that. I don't know what they were doing with that property. Not my favorite. I didn't really enjoy like the First Class type continuity they've created lately too, where they cite the first movies. Like, was it First Class? The first one begins with the same exact concentration camp that Magneto is in, and they use the footage from the flashback of the beginning of the first X-Men movie and weave it into the plot of First Class. But then in that same movie, they have Moira McTaggart show up as an American CIA operative, even though in the third X-Men movie she was already a Scottish geneticist. And so if you're gonna like play with that universe, it's just weird how they like pick and chose little things, and I don't know what to think of it. It's just, it's been 19 years since that first X-Men movie, so I get it. There's a lot of like weird continuity to kind of live with, but yeah, I don't know. Although I did like Days of Future Past. After some quiet thinking, I enjoy it because it involves one of my favorite things about the X-Men. I love explorations of time travel, alternate realities, like Susie Q, you mentioned Bishop being one of your favorites, and he always had kind of a weird thing going on too, where he was sent back in time to avert catastrophe, and then oh wait, it wasn't that catastrophe; it was this is the other one. And they're trying to find him, give him purpose all the time. Like he was sent back to find a traitor in the X-Men, etc. But then one of my favorite X-Men series ever was Age of Apocalypse. I reread that so often. It was so ballsy back in the day too, where they take the established known good continuity of X-Men and then kind of throw it in the air, and they changed all the books for 4 months. All of the existing titles became alternate reality stories, and all of the characters that you knew and loved were changed or dead, or overall different. Oh, guys, I don't know. I've been offline again. I think I'm gonna call it early. Yeah, like I'm saying right here. I gotta call it quits tonight. My stream ain't working. I don't know what's happening. Everything's stopped broadcasting. I'm still recording in OBS. So I'm gonna